Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt. Dankjewel. Today's project is a cute little box. This is it. And I made it for these little cards. Just let me get them in. This is part 2 on the box. If you'd like to watch the cards, I've put a link in that as well. So for the box, come and join me. Kijk gezellig mee voor het doosje. Okay, so this is the video on the box, and I'll show you the box. For this one, I have used the Starry Sky stamp set, ink, not a stamp set, ink. And you see, I did make all the cards in the various in colours. So, the box, and I'm putting my card over here. I've used the Something Fancy dies, and this one, the largest one of this rectangle for the window. Hand-drawn dots is the stamp set to make the lid, and then you need a piece of window sheet, and you need basic white, ordinary basic white, which is firm enough for the lid but not too thick to be able to fold it, and a piece of Starry Sky for the bottom. I will start with the lid, and you need a piece of basic white, just ordinary basic white, the stamp hand-drawn dots, and your Stamparatus. I think that works best for such a large stamp. And I did stamp my stamp once on some scrap grid paper, so that I know that when I put my card on, I'm getting it and I'm holding it up to the light. There's a strong light on my desk to make sure that I get as much of the paper stamped with the dots, because you want at least to have the sides of the box with the stamped image. The paper is larger than the stamp itself. The size of the paper is 6 1/4 by 4 3/4, or 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. In centimetres, that is 16 centimetres by 12.2 centimetres. I'm inking up my stamp, and then I'm going to stamp onto the cardstock, which I've positioned on the stamped image, so that I get the stamped image centered as much as I can on the paper. And with a big stamp, it's difficult to get it stamped right, so I'm using my Stamparatus, so if I'm not happy with it, I can go back, but I think this is okay. One more press in the middle, and this looks fine, do you see? Okay, then I'm going to score this on all 4 sides at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. In centimetres, that's 1.3 and 2.6. So 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And you go around doing that. So you rotate the paper and you continue scoring. 1.3 and 2.6 centimetres. Then I'm going to die cut the window. I'm trying to keep it on straight, of course. I'm going to die cut this. And I'm going to save the piece that I cut out, because I'm going to attach that to the bottom of the box when I've finished making that. So first I'm going to do cutting, and the cutting of the lid is the same as for the bottom, and I suppose that with the cutting it shows up better on the dark blue. So I'll just speed up this one. You can still see what I'm doing, but I'll explain in more detail with the bottom of the box, because I think it shows up better on film. This is the type of box that I prefer to make because it is nice and sturdy. But first I'm going to put in the window, and you need a piece of window sheet for that. And the measurements of the window sheet is 4 1/8 by 2 5/8. In centimetres, that's 10 1/2 by 6.7 centimeters. I've already put tear and tape on. I'll put it on my silicone craft sheet so that you can see better what I'm doing. And I'm going to attach the last piece of tear and tape. And then I'll attach it to the lid. Particularly with the plastic, you need to make sure that your tear and tape adheres well. I'll put it on top, maybe it's better visible, I hope it is. Then I can remove the paper backing. And this should fit just inside the lid, so there's no difficulty in figuring out where to attach it, because it should be a tight fit. Okay, so there and there, so butt it up nearly to the edge and then it'll be perfect. And you see you have a lid with a window. Then you're going to put tear and tape on. Again, I'll explain, I'll show you, I'll speed up, I'll show you, but I'll explain in detail with the bottom, which is in Starry Sky, a darker colour. With a shallow lid like this one and a shallow bottom, of course, use the rounded edge of your bone folder, because if you push it in too far you might damage the top of the box. So it works equally well, but there's no risk of damaging it. So this is the lid finished, and I will continue with the bottom of the box. It's a piece of Starry Sky which measures 6 5/8 by 5 1/8 or 16.9 by 13.1 centimeters, and again you're going to score this, which is scored at a different size, 5/8 of an inch and 1 1/4. And again you go around doing that, so 5/8 of an inch, 1 1/4, rotate, and you can see that I make the score lines twice. I want them deep enough, but if you push too hard in the beginning you might damage the paper. So just light pressure, but go over it twice. For me it works best. Then I'm going to fold all these score lines and I'm going to burnish them. For the Starry Sky I'm using my bone folder. The basic white, which I used for the lid, is just a bit more supple, so you could just use your fingers, but here I prefer my bone folder to get these nice crisp score lines when you fold them. Alright, now then, you have your box like this and you're going to do the cutting, so take the shallow end and then you make 4 cuts as far as the second score line, and you do this on either side of the bottom, so you go to the opposite end and again you make these 4 cuts as far as the second score line, and you have to start cutting the corners. I sometimes confuse myself, particularly when I have a square box, so I prefer to do the long middle parts first. I just cut them in at an angle, a tiny angle, go around all 4 sides so that you can fold the box inwards later on. Then you have to shorten the little flaps, so you cut them along the score line and again you cut them in at an angle. Again, so that you can fold the ends over. If you don't cut at an angle, your box won't be able to fit together. Just one more to go. And it helps you fold back that one. You see much better what you're doing. Also, if you cut from that side, may help. So that was the last one. And then I'll show you in more detail where to attach the tear and tape. You could also use your Seal Plus, but I'm using tear and tape for slow filming. First of all, you have your box like this with the flaps going horizontally, and you attach the tear and tape along these two long ends. And then you need to put some here to attach those two ends of the bottom as well. So 2 strips there and 1 along the middle. And you repeat at the other end. And before I do any of the sticking of the lid together, that's not good English, before I stick the lid together, I'm going to put in that part which I took away from the top. I just think it's a nice detail and you don't waste it. So looking for the middle and put it in. And then the same procedure as with the lid, but now in, well, not in slow motion, but a bit slower. First you start by sticking down those 2 long ends, just fold them down. Then I fold in these 2 and fold that one over, and the box almost naturally comes together. You see? And then I think it's easier to stick the sides on, and then you can remove the backing here and put the edges together, press, and then you can fold that one over, and because there's glue there as well, it'll stick immediately. You will need your bone folder to reinforce it. Glue always sticks better with some force. No idea what principle is at the bottom of that, but it is the way it is. Okay, so you see when I put them together, I just give it a press and then I fold that one over, and then with the bone folder you make sure that it all adheres really well, and then you can put your cards in. I suggest you put them in and then you alternate them, the folded edge, so like this. Then it's easier to put them all together, and then the last one, and the lid goes on top. Well, stay down. Oh, why did I put in too many? I don't know. Down, down. Oh well, this box doesn't work. Oh well, you could always tie a ribbon round it when you give it, because it doesn't stay together. This one does, I promise you. Look, it's always like that when you're filming. See, this one stays together. Well, every box is slightly different, so if yours pops open, put a ribbon round it. So either put a ribbon on or fewer cards in. That's it for now. Don't forget to watch the video on the cards or any of the other videos on my channel. Thank you very much for watching. Dank u wel voor het kijken and see you next time. Bye bye, tot ziens.